So it's been a while since I've made some videos. I've been sick and I also had to work on my car. So I'm a little behind on stuff, and I decided I was going to do a leather crafting series. I just came across this really nice piece of buckskin from a friend of mine through a trade, and I was going to go ahead and just kind of show some basic leather crafting deals. I just made this little pouch just for practice, just to see how well this material was going to work, and it is going to be really good. I was going to do something completely different with this, but when I got to measuring it, it's not quite big enough for what I wanted, so I decided I was going to go ahead and do some small stuff, and I thought I'd go ahead and show you guys a little bit along the way. This particular piece has a lot of these rough edges, if you can see in here. So, you know, you got an edge going this way and an edge going that way. And what I did was I just kind of made a little table here out of a big box. And this piece was one kind of deal off by itself, like one big flap. So I cut this piece off, and I'm going to take and cut another section of this, kind of like that, and match them up. So you can see I've got another flap that'll be right there, and I'm going to make a neat little kind of character pouch. And I thought I'd show you guys how I make my leather thing. You know, I kind of have my own style. Everyone does who kind of dabbles in this stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and get this cut off, and I'll show you the next step. Alright, so first off, I want to go over the materials and supplies I'm going to use. All I'm going to use is the awl on my Swiss Army knife. I've just attached my sewing kit that I did a video on before to the lanyard loop on this. I have a sewing needle already set up with some artificial sinew. If you don't have artificial sinew, dental floss works great. And then I have my two pieces. Now, I'm just going to kind of go over this pouch real quick. This is all one piece, and all it is just a piece that's folded over, and then you can see where I've stitched. And what I do is I just make holes about every 1/4 inch, and then I start sewing it up. So I'm going to go ahead and get these laid out, and what I like to use is just a big scrap piece of leather, like hard leather, and you can see where I've made some awl marks, and also where I've actually cut and trimmed a little bit. But what this pouch is going to look like is something like this. So I wanted this kind of overflapped deal on the outside, just kind of for looks, but that's also going to give me some reinforcement where I make the holes for the drawstrings, so that it's just a little stronger right in there. That will kind of help when I hang it by the drawstring, or if I choose to do it that way, it won't tear out of the material. Buckskin is really tough and really flexible, kind of like, you know, this piece. It's really tough, but it's really soft. So I have had it tear loose, but usually after extensive, you know, use and stuff on, you know, with a lot of weight in the pouch, and then a lot of tension on the seams. So what I want to do is, because I want this on the outside, what I'm actually going to have to do is sew it inside out. So I want these two pieces folded like this, actually facing each other, and then sitting on top of each other like so. I'm going to start punching my holes through this material. Now, I may not be able to show all of that and film it, but what I wanted to kind of just show here is when you go to make your holes, when you stab your awl into it and you give it a little bit of a twist, you get your holes all the way through. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a series of holes, probably do 10, and then I'll show you how I stitch them up. So, and you know, I'm not going to film that just because I need both hands, but it's just a simple, like that kind of a 1/4 inch. I eyeball it, but you can just do, like make marks with a Sharpie or something, every so often. You can go further, you can go tighter, just it kind of depends on your own preference. Alright, so I've sewn through my first couple inches here, and the technique that I like is you make, say, 10 holes. I'm not sure if that's exactly 10 or not, but then what I do is I start and I go through and then back through and then through, then back through, and you can see that I've gotten, basically it looks like every other stitch. But what I do is I then go back through all these holes. So, I came out of this one, I'm going to go back into this one and then back out of that one. So I'm going to double back and I'll get a stitch like that. So on this one, I went down and then flipped it over and went back. So that gives it a lot of strength, and it also makes it so that if you were to get a seam popped, only that section will come undone, because what I'll do is I'll be back up here and I'll make another series of holes, and I'll actually start over in this one and just keep going on down. So I'm going to double back and then I'll show you what I do there. Alright, so I've come back up and through, and what I do at the top, because this bag is going to be being opened and you're going to be reaching down and trying to pull stuff out and whatnot, what I like to do is when I come out the top, I loop back around and go through here, and what I do is I feed my needle through this, through this loop here, and that's where I make my knot. And I'll probably do that a couple more times, and then what I do is you'll have these little tails right here, and I just burn them with a lighter, and then squash it flat, and that makes a nice kind of clean deal. So I'm going to do that here, and then I'm going to go ahead and sew this on down, across, and back up, and I'll show you what the finished product is. Alright, so I've got my stitching all done, and I wanted to kind of show that I am by no means a expert professional. My stitching is just eyeballing it like this. It's kind of wonky here and there, but I just wanted to show that. I'm going to go ahead and trim off a couple of pieces, and then I'll show you how it looks turned inside out, or right side out. Alright, so there it is finished. I've got a little bit more I can do with it, probably put a drawstring on it and stuff, but that's just kind of how I wanted to start this. It's not perfect, it's not pretty, but it will do the job. So I plan on doing some more of these, and I'll show you what I do. I'm going to be doing some more elaborate projects and stuff with these scrap bits, and there are a lot of scrap bits. I've got you know, this is probably a really good flap or something like that. So anyways, let me know what you think. I'll probably show you how to do a drawstring here in a little bit, and we'll go from there.